We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
And today we're talking about waking up the energy body. So we started our course. We had the first session with everyone, and the first practice we really do is awakening the energy body, and we use an exercise for that. It's called building the ball, which gets people fast in tune with their energy body. Yeah. And that's just such an awesome exercise because, it could take years and years and years for you to discover this on your own without that exercise. That's how brilliant it is.
Yeah. No, it can change your life being so in touch with your energy body, because when you grow up, it's not something that you learn in school or from your parents per se. So
energy body?
No, you don't know. Maybe when you live in China, I'm not sure. But here it's not. You have your physical body and that's it.
Yeah, we could talk about the mind maybe,
yeah.
and we could talk about emotions. So we have emotions.
Yeah.
We do have feelings.
Yeah.
But not per se on that frequency that we're talking about now, right?
Exactly. It's that kind of missing link for a lot. For me, it certainly was. And although we talked about Qi so much when I studied traditional Chinese medicine, I never got an exercise where you really could feel your own energy.
Exactly. You talk about it all the time, right?
All the time. It's all about Qi.
Qi here, Qi there.
Yang, yin. It's something that's almost theoretically.
Yes.
But that's the brilliance of us being together. You were training, I was studying, and coming together, it was something that really got all the things that I learned in another perspective.
Yeah, because it becomes an experience, and that's so different than being a concept, right? A concept of energy, like everything is energy. Yep, everything is energy. Yeah. You plug in your phone, you go to the gas station for your car, you eat. Yeah. Of course, that's energy. But this experience of vital energy, which is the first exercise we're doing, gets you into a different zone immediately. Yeah. And from there, of course, we can see, so what can we do with that, right? So that's what Qigong really means. It's like we're playing and we're getting a sort of a deep skill with this feeling, this frequency. And this is only the first frequency, right? We can go to different frequencies. But this is definitely the entry into Qigong. Yeah. Without that, you cannot work with energy.
Yeah. So how was that with you? Because you started your training, I have to think, how many years ago?
Many moons ago. Yeah.
But
2006. That's when my training started.
Yeah. And how did that build up? Because I know it was not something that you learned in your first lesson. No.
It was really pretty physical based. So it was all about, there were feelings, of course, involved, but the feeling would be more like, is there a lightness, right? Yeah. Is there a lightness? Are the joints open? Are you in between? Things like that. And the first lesson I learned was standing practice.
Yeah.
And that was great. I stood for years and years and years every day. And I sort of discovered it at a certain point, right? This energy feeling, but it took years. It really took years because in your mind, you're standing there, and I had to stand for 20 minutes a day, which doesn't seem long, but in the stance we had to do it was pretty rough. At the first week, I couldn't go over 5 minutes. I would just would be shaking all over because it was pretty low stance, not a wide stance per se, but it was like we had to sort of sit at a position where your body would catch you if you just drop, bang, and there we had it. And then, you know, I would be standing, and then you play with this concept of, on one hand, it has to be open. So that's everything in between. So the stance of the wrist, for instance, like we don't want to bend it inward, we don't want to bend it outward. So somewhere in the middle, same with the elbow, the shoulder. So no lifting, no dropping. It's somewhere in between. And then, you know, this openness we're searching for. And then on the other hand, it's like, okay, relax the muscles as much as possible. But in the beginning, that's very, very rough because the relaxations you sort of know is almost limpness, right? So that's that's what we're brought up with, which relaxation should be. It's like you lie in your bed and you relax, and then you let the bed carry you, and that's relaxation. But it's almost like you could say, one of my teachers said, it's almost like you're mimicking death.
Oh yeah.
Right? Instead of aliveness, which Qigong should be. Yeah. And that's a huge difference. So I was really struggling with that. Yeah. And it was a good struggle. You know, I would do it all over again. Yeah. But later I discovered that there are some shortcuts to this. Right? Because when you tune into the energy body first, you learn a couple of concepts quickly. The first thing you learn is that there is stretch. And that wasn't really clear in the beginning with my training, that there should be stretch. The amount of stretch, okay, that's something we can talk about, right? But there's a concept of stretch. Yeah. So when you go into that exercise and you start breathing into the stretch, which is the thing we're looking for, I mean, that's sort of the formula when you want to wake up the energy body. It's like you have the will, that means that's the mental part, that tunes into the breath. And this breath is more of the energy thing, you could say, and you breathe into the stretch, which represents more of the physical aspect. So you have a mental aspect, you have like this feeling aspect. In this case, it's the breath, and energy aspect, and then the physical aspect. And these three come together. So you start breathing into this stretch, and something happens. Yeah. You do that for a while, maybe 20 minutes, and you have a feeling of energy. Yeah. And then when you have this feeling of energy, something else happens. You feel that something is taking over. I mean, it's not going to be such a struggle. The physical struggle becomes less. Yeah. Why? The energy is going to carry your body. Why? You're opening the body in a stretch. And this stretch is the elasticity body. This elastic body, the fascia, it's sort of this energy body in its most physical form. So when you go into the feeling and you open this stretch, you're clearing the pathway for energy to support you. Yeah. You know, that was a funny story. I had a student, and we were training for a while, and we were in a group session. And at a certain point, I said, "Okay, let's do some meditation. Let's sit on a cushion." Everyone was in the yoga studio, so there were these pillows, and they were everywhere. These meditation pillows, or how you call them. And we were sitting there, and she had a really hard time to keep her spine up. Right? It was like, no, you keep the spine up, and she knew about stretching. She knew all about that, but sitting on a cushion, she would just sort of roll to the tailbone, and her back would bend, and she was like, wow, this is so heavy. So then I said to her, okay, now tune into the energy ball, do it again, and let this energy feeling support your construction. Wow. And it helped instantly, right? It got her through the session, and she was surprised. She was like, wow, how can it be? If I put my mind awareness on a certain feeling, it's going to support my structure. Yeah. So when I started out with training, and I'm repeating, I'm so grateful for this experience. This was more a physical experience. Is that I had to figure that out on my own, right? You sort of go the rough way, and this is a shortcut, of course, but that doesn't mean there's still physical training involved here, right? Yeah. But this feeling is going to support that.
Exactly.
And that's the magic of it. I mean, we can talk about it all day, but it's an experience, and it happens, and this energy will support your construction. Yeah. Instead of you're looking to open your construction, and that's a real physical thing, and it becomes a struggle. Yeah. But it was a good struggle for me because I had to sort of overcome some aspects in myself. right? It's like the moment you feel after like 10 minutes and you're supposed to do 20, and at 10 minutes, you're like, you become sort of uneasy and want to go out of this position. You're like, oh, everything screams. It's like, this is so heavy. This is so heavy. I want to get out, right? And you're like, no, just stay there.
Yeah.
Just stay there. So that was really cool. But I wonder what would have happened if I've learned that first and then,
well,
it's a different animal.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do with people now who come to you.
Yeah, first this, and of course the physical aspects. But
no, I remember when you started training, I would sometimes train with you and try to do the standing practice with you, but it was just hard.
Yep.
It was just hard. And what I also had was that when I was standing, I would get lightheaded. There was just no foundation there.
Right.
So when I opened up, it kind of just, the energy just went away. I don't know.
Yeah, there was no, how would you say, there's no grounding, right? There was not yin enough to keep you grounded. It would just, it
would just disappear, and it was really hard. So then I kind of gave up very early on to just not do that. But then when you got into the stretching, I did do the stretching with you, and then the building the ball and the vital breathing, and that was something that I really enjoyed doing, and it felt really good. And in the meantime, we had changed our diet and different food and different lifestyle. And I remember going to a workshop, and it was actually women's
Negung.
Negung.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Roni
Edlund. Yeah, that's Demo Mitchell's wife.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went to this workshop, beautiful workshop, and it was 3 days. And I arrived on, I think it was a Friday. I don't remember exactly, Thursday, Friday. And we arrived, it was 4:00 in the afternoon, and I was kind of, new people everywhere, and it was lovely. And then she said, we first start with training. You get your dinner at 8. I was like, okay, that's challenging because I'm already hungry. And then the training involved standing practice. I was like, oh my God, this will be heavy. But what happened was that she did not standing practice for 20 minutes. No, it was kind of half an hour standing, and then some other exercises, and then another half hour standing. And I was like, oh, is this gonna go for the whole weekend? What did I sign up for? But the thing was, because we did all these changes, that it was easy. Not that it was easy, but it was much easier for me to do the standing practice. I think if I had done that a couple of years before, I would have walked. I couldn't have done it.
Right.
So now I was, and because I knew that, I already knew about the vital breathing and I had woken up my energy body. I got through it. Yeah. And it was actually a beautiful experience by just, getting in there and...
Yeah, it's like a marathon, really, right? It's more like marathon practice, and which is really cool, Yeah. And what you're describing, I've had this experience with students as well, where there's the first time you open their system is like they get lightheaded or crying or
opening the system.
It's pretty heavy, right? Yeah. So
So that was, but it was kind of a waking up for me. Oh yeah, I do. Sometimes you have these moments in your life that you think, this is what I did all the work for. So now I experience that.
For sure.
We're on another level. Yeah.
Right. And it becomes a different thing. With standing practice, there's this emphasis on sinking energy.
Yeah.
Right. So if you do not introduce someone into energy right from the start, it's going to be a physical thing.
Yeah.
And this physical thing is not bad per se. I did it for years, and I repeat this. I'm happy I did that, right? But you could mistake relaxation for limpness in this way, right? So the sinking of the energy becomes just a heaviness in the body that can become almost like a thing. Like, I can do this for 20 minutes, right? But all you're doing all the time is sort of resisting yourself, right? It's like that thing. What we want is to have an open system, and the energy can relax. So what we're aiming for with this energy ball practice is that first, of course, we're building the ball between the hands, so we get energy awareness between the hands, in the fingers, the fingertips, because that's the most sensitive part. But then when we go into vital breathing, pretty quickly after that, we'll experience energy all around, and we get this expansive energy. And that's important. You want to go into expansive energy first and then sink it. Right? So the thing here is that from expanding energy, you can change the personality of the energy. That's what we're capable of doing, right? That's the mental thing. It's like what do you want the energy to do? Do you want more a pung energy where it's more like fire related? You want to have this that sort of energy? Do you want to sink the energy? Do you want to release energy? What do you want the energy to do, right? But that starts with an expanding of the energy. The etheric body, right? You feel this expansion and it's like, okay, what's the personality of this, right? And from there you do your thing. Yeah. It's going to save you years of practice.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you describe like, okay, what kind of personality, or where does the energy go? Is it more, expanding energy in going inwards? Being able to experience this, it helps you also through the day, I think, for me to be able to be more aware of my energy body. Is also being more aware of where is my energy at the moment?
Absolutely.
What is it doing?
What's it doing? How is it behaving, you could say, right? So if you feel stress, it's easier to be in your head, right? It's more like, okay, I have this thing, and you're sort of unconsciously in your thing, whatever. It can be something with your work or a situation. And you feel this contraction all around. And then, but if you're more aware of the energy body and it's awoken, you can say, it's like, how does the energy feel? What's the personality of the energy? First, start expanding it again. Yeah. Do you expand the energy? And then you say, okay, what do I want the energy to do? Where do I want to be? Yeah. It's like, do I want to sink it now, or just I want to have more of a happy feeling, or where more neutral, you could say. That's the magic of this training. Yeah,
exactly. And it made me understand the 5 elements so much better. When I studied traditional Chinese medicine, the secret was also, because you do learn, it's on the page, but sometimes you don't have the experience with it, but then you start doing this training and you say, oh, but now I understand what wood energy is actually about.
Right.
It's this really uprising energy, and I can feel it, because if I'm really stressed and they call it the liver young rising, I can feel this heat coming up and this anger. And so it gave me a completely different understanding about 5 elements. It became reality.
Yeah, an experience.
It wasn't just a model I was looking at and saying, oh, this is belonging to this element and this is belonging to that element. But now I could experience the kind of energy that belonged to it. And I could understand, oh, how is the energy of the food or the herbs that I use going? Is it working with that element, or is it going against it? Is it, if I'm talking about like wood element, would it put extra fire underneath, or is it balancing it out? And it kind of clicked. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tuning into that, and you have this experience, you could sort of say is like from that point on, you sort of rediscover yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? There's more truth in an experience than in a thought.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, right? But it's many more people their opinion because, it's the way out, out of well, let's talk about stress, right? You're very much in stress. I mean, you observe that from, and observing is sort of the magic thing here. Yeah. You start observing the feeling that's around that, right? Literally, what's the energy doing? That gets you out of it. Yeah. Doesn't mean the stress is gone immediately, right? And of course, there's situations, right? Yeah. But what are you doing to sustain this stress? Yeah. When you go into a feeling, you're sort of detached from that because you have your head above the water. You're like, oh, wow, I'm experiencing stress, but do I want that? Yeah. Do I want that stress? Is it something that, is it something that I'm still carrying with me? Something that happened 2 days ago, I'm still in this stress state. Isn't it time to let it go? Yeah. Right? But how do you let go? You have to be aware of it, and then you tune into the feeling of it. You investigate the feeling. It's like, okay, this is what stress is. This is how it feels. Yeah. Okay, and now I change it. Yeah. Well, that's... yeah. It talks... I mean, it's easier to talk about this stuff than actually do that, of course, right? People are like, what is he talking about, right? Yeah. But, and of course, it depends so much on the situation you're in. But we're talking day-to-day living here. Yeah, absolutely. And, you have this experience and then this is what it is without being... Without it taking you under, you could say. Yeah. It's like, okay, is this energy sinking too much? Am I going to more like a depressed state? It's like, oh, okay, I experience it. Don't touch it per se, just observe it. And then, okay, how can I change that? Yeah. Can I change the energy of it? Instead of thinking your way out of it. Yeah. Right? Thinking your way out of things. I mean, we learn that somewhere along the line. And, but it's...
It's also because we don't have access to your energy body per se. No. It's something that's there all the time. I mean, everybody has feelings and you can feel your hands. You know that there is more than just a physical aspect, or hopefully you know. Sometimes we don't know. But so you get more tools in your toolbox. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Than just the thinking aspect. In school, it's all about thinking. It's all about understanding. Yeah, it's just this part of the brain that's all about that, right? Yeah. And that becomes sort of the thing we're striving for, to have this knowledge and things like that. But if it's cut off from the soul, from feeling, it's like... you're missing out a huge part of yourself. Yeah. Right. So yeah. So awakening the energy body is the first entry into that. Is into, I think it's a rediscovering. Yeah. It's hard to say. Growing up as a child and your first memories and the first years, but I'm pretty sure you're really in touch with that energy. We went to visit a friend of ours who just got a baby. And it's always amazing to see how much energy, power is around these magical little babies, as they're so full of it. They're so wow, and it completely attracts everybody towards them. Yeah, it's like a magnet. It's a survival magnet, I guess. Yeah. At that stage, but But it's and I think there are no words yet. So it's all about energy. It's all about feeling in this stage. Yeah, when you look into their eyes, right? There's this stillness. It's the same stillness when I look into Nathan's eyes, right? Our dog. It's like, I don't want to compare dogs with people, but it's more of the spirit is the same, I guess, is absolutely the presence, the being in the momentness, I would say, is there, right? You look in their eyes and it's different. And it comes it's so much more from experiencing in the moment than. But somewhere along the way, we all lose that. Well, it doesn't mean we lose it completely, right? I mean, some people are really
more and more in touch with that than other people maybe. You could say a little bit more higher sensitive, but the way it exposes itself in their lives is probably different, right? I see with a lot of people who are higher sensitive that they become very high reactive because they're also sort of forced into that headspace, right?
Yeah,
and they're like,
exactly. Yeah.
But in the meantime, their system is completely open and everything
just
comes in, right? And then you have to sort of digest that and So getting in tune to the energy body will help these people for sure. It will help everyone who goes into this endeavor, I guess.
Absolutely.
But so opening the energy body is and awakening it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it completely changed my life.
Yeah.
Having these experiences. I loved it.
Yeah.
That was a great talk. So hope you liked it too.
Yeah. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
And if you like it, please like it.
Hit that button. And we'll be back for more.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.